Hello everyone, this is going to be my Cold Steel, essentially arming training sword review. Now I say arming training sword because that's essentially its intended purpose. I'm not actually sure what the actual name of it is, it seems to vary. But medieval training sword is generally what it seems to go by. Now this isn't the first Cold Steel training sword I've owned. In fact, I do own the hand and a half variant, and it is definitely a decent training sword. I haven't had many issues with it, besides the pommel is a little bit on the rough side. Not easy to grip, and will probably hurt your hand during training. So that requires a bit of modification, but other than that, the sword is definitely usable, definitely good. Now onto the arming sword. It is definitely good quality, it's definitely durable, it's not going to be breaking on you anytime soon. The one issue it does have, though, is it is incredibly unwieldy. Like, for an arming sword, you're expecting this to be a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller, while in fact it's almost exactly the same length as the hand of the half sword, and is indeed probably heavier, and that is definitely an issue. Because in order to get the hand and a half sword its length, I believe, which is just a little bit longer than this, I should add, I believe they reduced the width a little, which ended up working out rather well. It gave it a nicer balance, and the blade didn't feel quite so heavy in your hand, especially considering you're supposed to use it two-handed. There's definitely an issue when I'm finding your medieval trainer is heavier in the hand on one hand than the hand and a half sword they create, which is essentially a long sword, meant to be used two-handed. Beyond that, it's definitely durable. It's definitely nicely made. The grip feels nice. I don't know if you can see the texturing on that. There's a little bit of I don't know, like a leather, like imitated leather kind of ideal. This disc or wagon wheel pommel, you'd expect to help balance it out maybe, but no, unfortunately it does nothing like that. This rubber band here they use to secure this grip, it secures it rather well. Not as well as it did on the hand and a half sword, but it's in there good. The band itself is far too small to get up onto this edge here, so it takes a lot of work to get that on. Prepare to have really hurt fingers. Other than that, pretty happy with it. It was $20, so I suppose it was on sale. It's probably only worth about $20 to be honest in terms of usability. In a modern day fight, it would definitely be very useful. Basically just a big freaking club. You could kill somebody very capably with this. In a duel or for sparring, it's a little subpar. I really wish it was better reduced in the blade size. It really did not need to be as thick as it is. In fact, it's thicker than the hand and a half blade, which is longer. Just a moment and I'll give you a look side by side. Alright, so here are the two swords beside each other. This is the hand and a half sword on the top there, and you'll notice that the pommel has been ground down a bit. That's simply because when it comes new, it has these flanges, like spikes, that come out and, of course, hit your hand, so you can't get the full grip that you'd like, the little space between, like that. Instead, you end up having to have them right next to each other, and this part here is also digging into your hand. Unfortunately, that's how it comes. It takes a bit of time, but you can get this modified so it is a usable pommel. Now, I'm sure you can tell, for a hand and a half sword and a one-handed supposedly medieval training sword, with the design of arming sword, they're almost exactly the same length. That is almost completely unacceptable. I mean, it wouldn't be an issue were this blade a little thinner, but the sad fact of it is, the hand and a half blade is the thinner of the two. And that's just preposterous. I don't understand what you were trying to go for with that. I mean, if you went down to this and made this part a little thinner and retained the width here, would have been fine. In fact, it would have emulated it a lot better. Unfortunately, is this? No, they're about the same width this way, but this one is thinner this way, and it helps with the design, and they both kind of suit their looks pretty well. But this one, definitely far too long, and when you hold it, it feels like it's going to come out of your hand with every strike. It's just far too heavy. Like, yeah, it slips in your grip. It's not going to stay in there. It feels like you're holding a big, heavy piece of steel instead of a well-balanced sword. This one, not so bad, actually. It feels alright, and definitely a lot bigger than it looks on camera here. And it does its purpose. It feels good in the hands. It adequately suits two hands. This one you can use two hands, but only for the strike. The recovery is not going to turn out well for you. You can use your second hand to pull back on this part of it here, and that can help you with getting it moving. Unfortunately, for stopping it, it's just an awkward thing to grab. So, for future reference, Cold Steel, I definitely hope you narrow the thickness of this a little bit, make it maybe a little bit more akin to that, and definitely reduce it by at least like an inch, maybe 2 in length, because, I don't know, this is just obscene. One's supposed to be an arming sword, one's supposed to be a long sword. They come out basically the exact same length, and in fact your arming sword is heavier. Like, really, guys? Come on. Anyway, should you buy it? It's $20 if you don't have a practicing sword at all yet, and you want one. Sure, it's fine. It's a good sword. This one used to be 40, and I'm pretty sure this one did as well. It's now gone up to 100, and I think that's a bit preposterous. But I guess supply and demand, right? I guess they're running out. This arming sword here, it's gone down. It's $20. I'm guessing not a lot of people are buying it. And yes, I'm going to continue to call it an arming sword. I'm pretty sure it's known as the Cold Steel Medieval Training Sword. But it's supposed to be an arming sword. I mean, that's just the look. That's the design. And that's supposedly how it's supposed to be used. Unfortunately, it's not adequate for that. The weight is just obscene. It's the most unwieldy thing I've ever held. Like, a stick would do you better. It's just far too much dense plastic on the end of your wrist there. It's, and trust me, I'm no weak guy. This isn't little wimpy complaints. This is just it's just obscene for a sword. You wouldn't expect this. Like, it's basically a baseball bat, whereas it feels a little bit more like a sword. So if I had to recommend either of the two, if you can get this at a reasonable price, definitely go for it. If you are on a budget and just need something to practice with, it's not the worst. It's going to last you. It's going to be a good self-defense tool. I'm not sure between the two which would serve you better. This you could definitely accelerate to a higher speed on impact. This has more momentum and a little more weight, and because it's shorter, it's all going to be kind of more focused. So, up to you how you want to go about with that. Unfortunately, it's not much shorter in length, so it's not more portable. You're basically just dealing with a heavier, slightly shorter, less handled version of the hand-and-a-half blade. If you can call them blades. So, I guess that about sums it up. You have the hand-and-a-half, and you have the Medieval Trainer. Medieval Trainer, good for the money. It's $20. How can you go wrong? I got like 2-day shipping on that as well. Came to like $24 after everything. So yeah, if you want to go for that, it's on Amazon. Feel free. If you were looking for a good idea on what it's like and how it compares to other training swords, there you have it. It's subpar, and I'm a little disappointed with that, but hey, I paid $20. I'm pretty happy with that. And it will definitely work. You can definitely, like, spar with it. You just have to be careful, and it's not going to feel as nice as it could have, or as nice as it probably should have. But it works, and when it comes down to it, when you're training, that's maybe your biggest focus. And being that it is heavy, it can help with strength training with it. That could definitely improve your strike with your one hand, or perhaps your grip. Anyway, for whatever reasons you decide, this is what they're like, and I hope this helps you in the future on your purchases. So I'll maybe see you guys next time. I don't know if I'll be doing more videos. This is not really a common thing, but I did notice this thing here doesn't really have many reviews. Have a great day or evening, night, whatever you're doing. Bye.